Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we are on episode 84.
Yeah.
And it's a good episode. Well, they're all good.
They're all good. But this is a great episode.
Even better than great.
Whoa.
Excellent.
Excellent. I like that.
Well, all of ours are. And we always...
Way to toot our own horn there.
No,
all of our episodes are great.
And that's not what I meant. I meant whenever we have guests on, they are excellent episodes.
I agree with that.
Right? Because, yeah, some of the other ones, sometimes, but we appreciate every single one of you who have stuck with us since day one or episode 83. We appreciate you.
Yes.
So we're going to get started. We have another hustle session.
Yeah, another hustle session. We've got great friends of Pure Hustle Podcast on the show today. They're not just great friends of the show and of us personally, but they're incredible resellers. They've got an awesome story. And I've been so blessed just to know them and be part of, the community. And I think they're a big part of that. And so I'm super excited. Orlando, you know them even more than I do. So you want to give a little intro?
Yeah. So been knowing them for a while. They are real relevant resellers. And if you follow us on Instagram, I do a lot of Insta stories when I'm over at their place. And so now we get to kind of talk about all of it. So like to introduce Hugo and TIffany. Let us know what your IG handle is and what you're about.
All right. Well, we're sell quick, ship quick. She's sell quick. I'm ship quick.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're part-time resellers.
Full-time hustlers.
Oh, okay. I like
all
that.
Right. You got to explain that a little bit, though.
You guys practice that? That was good. That was a good intro.
Well, I mean, on our YouTube channel, we've been using that because we feel it represents us. We're part-time resellers because
we do it part-time. We resell part-time.
We resell part-time. And the reason we call it part-time is we don't depend on our reselling, income. Profits, to pay for all our bills or a living. It helps, but it's not our only thing. But we say full-time hustlers because we're always doing something.
So tell us, can you share with us some of the things you do? Just because I'm sure now people are like, what do they do for their full-time income?
Yeah, because you got a lot of hustles. I remember when we first had dinner together that one time and you guys were sharing all the things you do. I'm like, wait, what? We do what? And what? And
so
what?
I think since that meeting, we got extra positions. So I'm a financial aid director for the vocational school that I was teaching at, and I moved up to financial aid.
I'm an instructor at the same school. And I should begin a couple more hours. And then actually this upcoming Monday, we're going to get certified
for becoming CPR training instructors. Wow. So that will be Monday. And then we also have a private personal training business that we run together. My family has 2 Vietnamese restaurants in the San Gabriel Valley of LA County. And so we help operate those 2. He does the day-to-day. Yeah,
day-to-day at the restaurant, management between any fires I need to put out.
And then I do the accounting stuff. We do janitorial for the school.
Yeah, we do janitorial. What else do we do? Oh, and then my mom has a couple properties, so she lives up in the Bay Area. So since the properties are in LA, I manage those for her. So yeah, we stay busy.
And then somehow you find time to also resell?
Yes.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Platforms.
Yeah. So what platforms do you sell on?
eBay,
Poshmark,
Mercari,
Amazon,
Etsy,
and I think you put in some stuff up in what was the other ones? Is it?
Oh, Tradesy.
Tradesy.
Nice.
Oh wow,
that's legit.
That's it. You guys have a lot going now. TIffany, something exciting did happen that has added to your hustling stuff. So what's the new thing that's happening in Sell Quick, Ship Quick?
Ooh, breaking news. Here we go.
So at eBay Open, they had advertised their seller diversity program, and they had reached out to everyone at eBay Open that they were going to be accepting applicants. I signed up for their email and I applied, and you had to write I guess I called it a mini essay. We both submitted an essay to explain why they should pick you for their program. And it's to represent underrepresented communities for sellers. And And I got confirmation this week that they picked me.
Wow.
Congratulations.
That's amazing. So now you're like an ambassador for eBay to help, promote change and diversity within the company and to, reach more sellers and understand people's, unique needs. That's amazing.
So not all the listeners may understand. So give us an example of what that would look like a on the ground example.
So if there's a event that's going on for a major holiday of some kind, and we had talked about in LA, there's for Chinese New Year, there will be big community celebrations for the holiday. So if we know that there's going to be a big celebration, we could reach out to eBay and ask them to help provide some material,
swag or something. Yeah.
To possibly set up a booth within a parade or something like that to represent eBay and to reach out to the community.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So breaking news on Pure Hustle Podcast.
Yeah. So not only do you hustle hard, but even in your hustles, you're like hustling. That's legit.
All right. So talk to us. So you said you Poshmark, Mercari, eBay, Tradesy,
And
Etsy, Amazon. No Bonanza, not yet. I keep trying.
Not yet, but every time I get on PayPal, it keeps telling me how easy it is to combine.
Yeah.
So,
but okay,
so think about it.
It is. It's really easy, but I want to know. So talk to us about how could you, if you had the ability to sum up your operations in a few sentences, right? Because you're multi-platform, you have a lot going on. How would you, I guess, explain your operation? Now, you had mentioned a little bit how you're a team, right? So, TIffany, you sell quick and he ships quick. So I'm guessing you do the listings and he does the shipping or something to that effect. Explain to us your operation.
Okay, so I think 80 to 90% of our inventory is clothing. So we source together, but once it gets home, I process the clothing. I do the photos and measurements and listings. When they sell, he ships it. If it's hard goods,
yeah, I take care of it all. Yeah. And so, for example, we go to a thrift store, we split our ways right when we get in. I mean, Orlando's has seen that in action. Mm-hmm. Tiff will go straight to normally women's clothes. I'll go straight to the hard goods, electronics, the glass, behind the glass, see what they have, overpriced that doesn't belong behind the glass. And then after that, I'll go to men's clothing. So that's the sourcing part. And then once we get home, she processes, like you said, the clothing, listings and everything. And I'll help out with the hard goods and customer service and and all that splits amongst all the platforms.
But it seems like you skipped a lot of things. I've seen, I guess, the behind the scenes. There's a lot that goes on. So how do you have that set up so you can actually live while selling on multiple platforms? So you have some kind of systems in place.
Well, first, I think the best way to sum up is our goal is always to be efficient, because our most valuable thing is time, where sometimes we're willing, and you guys have talked about in your other shows, about sometimes you pay up to get some of that time you need that's more important, right? What you guys talked about getting somebody to help out at the house to clean, things like that. So in our case, we want to be as efficient as possible. So one of the things she does well and has really helped us is the cross listing. And she does it on, eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And she does that with the clothing. How long does it take you now, average?
2 to 3 minutes to cross post.
Nice.
Yeah.
So start to finish, taking pictures and then posting, about how much time do you spend per item, do you think?
When I averaged it out, I think it takes me, from photograph to measurement to listing, what do we say, 5 to 7 minutes in total per item?
Nice. And it's going on how many platforms?
3. If it's vintage, then 4, because I'll go on Etsy.
Nice. So that's like a minute or two per platform if you think about it.
That's really fast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's uber fast.
So we have, I've timed it because for efficiency, I have the little mini Google. And so I'll talk to Google and ask Google to set up a timer. And I set up a timer to see how long it takes me to photograph. So I'll do a 30-minute timer. At the end of the 30-minute timer, I'll count how many items I was able to photograph. Sometimes it's 11, sometimes it's 14.
It all depends on the item.
Yeah, but when I say photograph, it means photograph, measure, fold, and bag. And then so that'll take anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes, depending on the item. And then because it takes 2 to 3 minutes for me to cross post, and that adds up to about, anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes.
Nice.
That is incredible. And you guys have YouTube videos, right? That you show how you do the cross posting and all those things, right?
Yeah.
So you're also on YouTube. We haven't talked about that, but you've been dropping a lot of videos lately on YouTube.
I guess that would be another thing to add to our
to your repertoire.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do our best to stay on top of our social media, including YouTube. So we're fairly active on Instagram, and like you said, about at least three videos a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
And your social media is great. Like I love watching your stuff because it's just funny, right? Like you guys are funny. You're always either dressing up as something or singing or dancing, or I don't know, you make it fun. Like it's not just like, here's an item, I paid this much, I made this much. Like you have a lot of fun with what you're doing. And I think it's like contagious. People see that and it brings joy to the reselling. So like, is that just your personality? Is that how you guys are all the time? Or is that like something you do just for social media? Not that you want to admit that, but like what?
Yes, they're just terrible people.
Orlando's been around at 3.0 front all day.
They have to hide it really well if that's who they are.
No, that's what helps us. I mean, I know a lot of people look at us and say like, why don't you guys rest, stop, but we have fun doing things together. So we don't actually feel stressed out as much. By all means, we all have our stresses from any jobs we do. But, by making it fun, it definitely makes time fly. Yeah. And slowly we just started sharing that more and more on social media.
But him dancing, that's
like it really is. Yeah, what you guys social media gets about 15 to 20% of the shenanigans I actually do all day.
Oh man, I can't wait. You need to go 100, man. I can't wait to sell till we see it all.
I'm waiting for the TikToks.
10x. Oh, I know.
Yeah, 10x it.
All right, so we'll get back to the logistics and how you do things because I'm very interested in how we could help our listeners. You're talking about timing yourselves, and I don't think a lot of us. I know me for sure. I don't time myself. I don't go, wow, my personal record last week was this and it's this week, but that's key. But you had mentioned that you guys are a team and you work together reselling. So I kind of want to hear your origin story. So tell us a little bit about what got you to reselling. I mean, it's been about a year. We all started with the whole Wade YouTube videos. That's how we first entered YouTube. Talk to us. What got you started reselling and how did it build?
Many moons ago, Hugo watched Storage Wars and American Pickers, and he proclaimed himself the next American Picker.
Nice.
Went to like 2 or 3 yard sales, garage sales, picked up maybe a handful of items.
Yeah.
And then went and ordered like 2 big totes of padded envelopes and said, I'm going to be a reseller.
Nice.
He sold those 5 items.
So you researched them or you just picked them up like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm Hugo.
You know how to read comps?
I didn't know how to look up comps back then. So by many moons, we're talking about like
a decade ago.
Like 10
Almost
years ago.
Oh, that long.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't even know how to look up comps back then. I don't know if you could have looked up comps as well back then. But yeah, I just went on kind of gut feelings, which worked out for me with those 5 items. But after those 5 items, the restaurant picked up and then we ended up with 2 restaurants and change of focus. Yeah. Stop reselling for like, what is it, like 8 years?
Yeah. And then I read the Marie Kondo book before the Netflix special. I cleaned up our house. I found a giant box of Martha Stewart die cut, like hole punch things. And I didn't want to throw them away. So I asked him to look them up on eBay. I had maybe 50.
Yeah, there was a bunch.
He looked them up and some of them sold for $40.
Individually.
Individual. Yeah. And so he ended up selling everything from that box. He funded our Portland trip with just the Martha Stewart stuff.
Nice.
And that sold in a span of probably like 3 months, maybe
less than that.
Yeah. And we still were like, okay, cool. We're slowly selling. And then once we were actually in Portland is when we're really like, wow, That paid for our trip, like tickets and spending cash. And then we thought like, okay, maybe we could do this on the side and start doing this for some travel cash. And that became our first goal, was some travel spending cash, a little bit of money to go down to San Diego for a weekend or something. And then, came back with the itch to go searching for stuff.
But we hadn't done thrift stores.
No.
We started with, we didn't know it was called retail arbitrage.
I didn't know what I was doing.
We went to like TJ Maxx. He started scanning things, looked it up on eBay. We found some random toys, like wrestling figures.
Yeah.
Right. And so we picked up these wrestling figures.
We're making about $15 maybe on them. Yeah,
$15 net. And then we're like, okay, I didn't know how to list. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to use the eBay app. I didn't know how to look things up. I just found things and said, hey, here, I found this. Can you look it up? And
one of the big hooks that got us while doing RA, now we can say RA, was there was a Norelco beard trimmer that I found, and we were at, I think it was TJ Maxx at the time. And I saw it and it was like $50. And even now it's hard for me to spend $50 on something that I'm going to flip. But I was like, I'm not even going to try this. But I scanned it, and sure enough, that was selling for about $300.
Wow.
And all those recent solds on it were within days of when I was scanning it. And I was like, and I told her, do you want to give it a shot? All right, let's go. And at the time, we were actually already just using our PayPal funds to pay for a lot of our stuff. So we weren't investing any more of our own personal money from our other hustles. Mm-hmm. Well, that sold within a day. And
for
it did for $350. Wow. And all of a sudden, I was like, there was 2 more at the store. We got to go back.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that's kind of like, now we do that with Orlando, where we hit all the stores, but we hit all the TJ Maxx in our area and picked up all of them.
Yeah, we drove probably, how far is that?
We went all the way to Sherman Oaks.
50 miles from here.
Which is a big deal in LA time, right? Yeah. What is that in LA time?
Yeah. It was a day. It was definitely a day trip. And that hooked us. Like, we couldn't believe that was out there. The ability to make that money off of something we had access to.
Yeah.
So,
and I find that the case with a lot of people that resell, you're reselling, but you don't know you're reselling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like you don't know what to call it.
A reseller.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I remember back in the day when I was married, we would get these Lucky Brand jeans from a discount store, and we would sell them, and we didn't think anything of it. Like, and again, you guys didn't continue eBay after that, right? You kind of took a break after that, or it did start after that?
No, soon after that. Yeah. Once
good. Okay.
That's it. Like that situation.
You're like, sold. We're doing it.
Sold. Yeah. That was when we were definitely felt there was potential in reselling.
And then I asked them to I was like, I'll download the eBay app, and then you can show me how to look up the comps. I'm not going to list anything, but I can look things up for you while we're there. And we would split departments. And then I would go scan like beauty products or.
Yeah. And then she would show me things, and I'll look at them and be like, shipping on that. I wouldn't want to do that. And then we learned.
Yeah. Nice. I would say, like, for any of our listeners out there who are getting into reselling or been reselling for a while, and they're having a hard time getting their significant other to do it with them, like, this story right here is so great. I mean, I resell with my wife too. And if you haven't experienced it yet, like, doing it together as a team, it's like an amazing thing. Like, because it takes, I mean, there's been times where my wife and I are going to Targets, and where there's like a toy we're looking for, and we found one, and we're able to go to like 5 different Targets and pick them up. And it's like a thrill. It's like a date night almost. Like, we're going really fast. We're getting there. We're running in. We're trying to see if they have them. And it's like, it turns something like work into something that's awesome and enjoyable because you're doing it with somebody you care about. So, I mean, so for our listeners, if your spouse or your significant other is not interested, have them watch this interview and see how Hugo and Tiff are and how much they enjoy it together.
How in love they are with each other.
Yes, and then say like, hey, come on, you give it a try, and who knows?
Hey, before we move on, I do want to compliment you guys on your camera and your mic setup. It's pretty awesome. Like, your video is nice. Your mic is nice. Like, you guys are doing an excellent job. Really appreciate that.
Appreciate it. I mean, we put up lights, We
got all this just for this interview.
I know. Actually, we haven't used this mic for anything. So I thought, well, this is going to be partial podcast. So,
Yes.
I mean, sounds important. I know Mike would be proud.
Yeah, no. Audio quality that's the most important, and you guys got it. So good job.
We're like glowing. We got this heavenly look about us.
Yeah, we're using the wrong
I
computer, and the lighting is bad, but you guys are great.
You
So you're
guys
the
had
stars.
a filter. You guys have like that filter from the 90s where you would go to the mall and get your photos done.
Yeah,
we're just trying to get retro right now. So, all right. So, hey, so let's jump a little bit. So you got hooked. You went on this fantastic voyage and got all these Noreccos and you sold them. And so what keeps happening?
I was like every day after work, be like, hey, TJ Maxx is down the street, or there's a Ross 5 minutes away. Do you want to run in for 10 minutes and just scan?
Yeah. And it was just like that. Like Mike was saying, it became fun to go in and, spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes scanning things, looking for treasures. But the crazy part is, that RA we were doing really was just eBay, because I didn't think about Amazon or anything else.
I hadn't heard of any of the other stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know people sold on Amazon.
Yeah, me either. I didn't know people did that. But slowly while doing that, I was trying to figure out how to set up the stores and all this stuff. And that's when I got on YouTube and I started looking up videos and learning different, I don't want to say tricks, just really different steps to take.
All right. So with all that, okay, let's go a little bit back. Now, at that time, obviously you're just doing eBay, right? Mm-hmm. So what got you to start listing on other platforms?
Well, I think so. First, when I showed her how to do everything, it was my way on the mobile app, and I only listed from mobile. That's not efficient. She's a very efficient person. So
you guys are saying desktop is more efficient than mobile?
Oh, yeah, significantly more efficient.
For everything.
Yeah.
Sharing, offers.
The works.
Yeah.
And so she was getting tired of the little glitches that would happen with the app, or things would freeze or take forever. And she went on her own to start looking up YouTube videos to learn how to list on desktop. And that changed everything, because that's when you started learning about more people selling clothes. I
think I started going on to hear brands, because I don't know clothes. I'm in gym clothes all the time. I didn't know anything about clothes. So I had to go on YouTube. I found, different resellers who talked about clothes. And one of them was Empty Hanger. And she was mostly on Poshmark. And she spoke about Poshmark. So then we downloaded Poshmark. Then she had mentioned Mercari. And so we looked up Mercari. And I downloaded Mercari. I was like, well, if she's talking about it, I'm going to sign up for it and we'll figure it out. And so we just started tinkering with it. Poshmark was really easy to, at first I didn't know how to do the things on Poshmark, because if you've seen the platform, everyone has
aesthetics.
Yes, aesthetics to Poshmark. So I was so concerned about making it pretty. And it doesn't look like eBay. And there's there's furry things in the pictures, and there's, I don't know what they're selling in the picture, because it's like a shirt with a pair of pants and some booties, but they're selling the necklace because the necklace goes with that outfit. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. And so I was really fearful of posting on Poshmark. And then I started looking at more listings, more YouTubes. And I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to do the exact same thing from eBay.
Duplicate the same process.
And then things were selling. And so I was like, okay, so I don't need to do all the fancy things and add plants and stuff. And I just copied it exactly.
And it's similar in the shipping department. I was with eBay, kept it simple, make sure everything was safe and shipping things out. Then we got to Poshmark, and I saw all these videos of beautiful wrapping, and I was like, oh, I gotta get tissue paper now and stickers and ribbon. And then I saw people are putting gifts. I was like, I'm not gonna invest in gifts, but I'll give you an extra sticker. And slowly I was like, you know what, it doesn't even matter. So I started backing out, and
Okay, so let's rewind a little bit then. So a couple of things. So what you're saying is on Posh, you don't have to do all the staging.
No.
Okay. And then what about, some people talk about tissues and they talk about nice packaging and they talk about thank you cards and all that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think if that's your personality,
Okay.
then do it, because Posh is a place where you can
be creative
and give yourself a little signature. I mean, to an extent, if you want to say branding your store.
But that's what's happening right now, right, Hugo and Tiff? I mean, you went to Posh Fest, and it seems like being your own brand is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's the section in Posh where you can get in there and become a brand. You can basically become your own online boutique store. Something like if you had it on, to say Rodeo Drive, and you had a little spot where you sold a certain type of clothes. So your Poshmark closet can only carry a certain style, and then that's your style. In that, you can make your packaging a certain way. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's one way to do it. The other way, which is the way most people that cross post or come over from eBay are like, you know what? We're just looking to make a sale. Put it on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Should be, our main thing is it a good product? Is it safely packed? And will it ship quickly? Mm-hmm. So our focus is to give our customer a beautiful product that is in safe condition and gets to them as soon as possible.
Yeah. And we've delivered on all that.
And we actually got a comment. One of our first, I think, 3-star ratings on Poshmark were because we had too much material. So the comment was, why was this item in the clear resealable bag that we put all our items in? Why was it in the clear bag and then inside a pretty poly mailer and then inside the Poshmark, like the USPS flat rate? Excessive packing material, but the item wasteful, wasteful to the environment.
Wow.
Yeah, I can see how people would complain about that, but it's you can never please everybody, right? Like you try the best you can, and somebody's gonna complain because that's why we're talking for another episode. And, even putting a sticker on boxes say like, I'm recycling boxes. Like, don't complain that it's not, that is a weird box because I'm recycling it, because somebody's going to complain about that. Like, you can never please anyone. Otherwise, someone might say you should use recycled boxes. Like, somebody's going to be upset. But yeah, so Poshmark. Now, Poshmark for me and for my wife has been a little bit slower these last few months. And part of that, I think, is we haven't been sharing closets as much because it's a time sink. How's Poshmark been for you guys?
Up and down. I mean, it really is a roller coaster. And what we've learned, I mean, and like you mentioned, we went to Posh Fest, which is just about a week ago.
Yeah.
And
there's no rhyme or reason.
It's really difficult to try to predict Posh. But in terms of what helps your stores or your closets, if you really just have a few minutes to do anything, it's share your own closet.
Yeah. So that was one of our takeaways was it is more important to share your own closet than to share other people's closets. But because it is a community platform, we do try to share people's closets. It is a time suck. So, I'm all about timing things. So it's like set a 10-minute timer during your day, 10 minutes out of your day, and 10 minutes to share.
Whatever you share at that point.
On the computer, because it's faster.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us. So there's strengths Poshmark, and then there's things that you're okay with on Poshmark. So across the board, like you already shared a little bit of Poshmark. You can share some more about Poshmark, but I'm interested. What are the strengths and weaknesses, let's say, of Poshmark, Mercari, and then we'll wrap it up with eBay from your perspective?
I think weakness that we've seen on the Poshmark side is kind of going back with the idea of it's up and down. The volume of sales is harder for us to produce there. We cross post. The majority of our eBay store is clothing, and that means all that is cross posted over to Poshmark. But the volume in sales is not the same. We get more movement. I
think for Poshmark, you do have to be more hands-on with your item. You have to share it. You have to tweak it. You have to send offers constantly to make sure that it's getting out there. Versus eBay, you basically set it and forget it. To an extent, relatively, right? Yeah. And then on Mercari, you just have to list and relist.
You just hope somebody likes your item.
Yeah,
who knows what happens?
Hope someone finds it, because once your item gets on there and months pass, then your item goes all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, on Mercari, the thing we've noticed is we do get some random sales from like random items that have been listed on there for a bit. But when we do see a spike in sales on Mercari, it's normally things that sell overnight. Because like she said, Mercari works in a, I guess, what is it? Chronological format, where as your item you list today, then tomorrow somebody lists. So now their item is on top and so forth. So your item keeps getting pushed down on the searches. Yeah. So the longer your item sits in Mercari, the less likely people are going to see it.
And they eventually deactivate those items. Am I correct?
You know what? I'm not even sure. Who knows? They might deactivate.
I've got into that level where my items have just been deactivated.
So are you able to relist, or
it might be activity because
we'll go in and send offers on old stuff too.
Okay.
And we sold, what was it, that Polaroid thing that randomly sold on there?
Yeah.
And that was one of our first listings, but it took almost like 10 months for it to sell.
Yeah. So it's weird that it actually sold. Yeah.
All right. Now we haven't. Okay, so talk to us about eBay. What has been, is eBay your primary, and why?
Yeah, I mean, amongst all of them, including Amazon really is the newest one we're getting into. And thanks to your help in the last year, we've been learning more from the podcast and working with you. But eBay is our...
eBay is bae.
eBay's our bae.
Okay. And is that just, you get the volume of sales and... It seems that there's more buyers on there.
Yeah, there's more eyes. There's it's the diversity of items we can list up there. We have a little bit more control, and we have a premium store, so we have access to certain features. I mean, I think even if you get the basic store, you get these features. But we have promotions we can run. We have promoted listings that we also do.
Sales.
We have sales that you can run. You could also do multi-quantity sales on certain items. So there's a lot of different ways you can promote your things, which feels like we have a little bit more control. And sometimes we do feel like we see that control because, again, we get more sales on eBay than the others, even though, again, we send offers on the other two platforms. But yeah, eBay's bae.
Nice. So when you started this, you said that you're part-time reseller because you don't rely on the money you make from reselling to like make a living, right? Or to pay your bills. But you seems like you're doing pretty well on eBay and doing reselling. So what is your goal with reselling? What do you hope that reselling will bring to you? Or like, we never ask for numbers specifically, but like what does reselling look like in your life as far as income comes?
Okay, so I think initially when we first started, it was, oh, hey, we can travel
money.
But then when reselling started to pick up more, we realized, hey, let's be responsible and pay off some of our debt. And so when reselling started to pick up, the other incomes that we have, we make payments on our debt. And when reselling picked up, we were like, hey, we can make extra payments and pay things off faster. And so this year we used reselling to help with the extra payments. So we would do our minimum payments with all our regular income. And then from reselling, we pulled some money aside and we started putting extra payments into that other stuff.
Now you can share how much. I mean, you have a whole video on it. So how much have you guys paid off since the beginning of the year?
Oh, so I did our bookkeeping. So since from January until that post, which was September, I think, we paid off $10,000 in debt.
Nice.
Yes.
And that included our Prius that we finished paying off.
We own our Prius, our reseller Lambo.
Nice. Congratulations. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, how did it feel to go, it's $10,000? Like, was that something you guys were like, we can do this, or did it come as a surprise?
We didn't realize it was happening.
Okay.
And and part of it was because we were just focused on sticking to our tasks. And we like to use the word and Mikey's disciplined, like we stick to what we said we're going to do. As tired as we might be, we're going to make sure we get things done. And sometimes when you're tired and your focus is to get something done, you don't realize what's going on. And what was going on is we were paying down our debt.
Right.
And it's a positive side effect of this.
That's incredible.
And I mean, and we even put on there on that post, like the amount we put in a lot of work.
It's not easy.
It is not easy to do reselling. And I mean, by all means, you can scale it to your level, whatever you'd like or willing to put in. And in our case, we're willing to put in a lot of time. And when we started seeing our, results or 90-day totals or 60-day totals going up, and like it almost made us emotional. Like, things are happening. Like,
yeah,
like we're getting results for all our hard work.
So how long have you been doing this? Like, seriously? So you said you kind of started 10 years ago with like the dabbling in it. How long have you been pretty like making this like a serious side hustle?
So we joke around that it didn't get serious until my better half here joined, not full time, but full force on
January 26th.
There you go.
2018.
All right.
Yeah.
Anniversary dates.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that was the day that I said, those piles, no more. I am going to create spreadsheets now, and we are going to put prices on everything and find a location for everything. And it's not just like, well, I think I paid $2, or it could have been $5. I think we made $10.
I was running an old system. That system was my head.
No, I get it, Hugo. You guys know I get it. So talk to us. Okay, let's get back to logistics then. So talk to us about your use of a spreadsheet. Like, what do you include in that spreadsheet? How'd you come across it, or how'd you create it? And how's it been helpful? I know that's a lot of questions, so just go with it.
So spreadsheets. I think my first time looking up spreadsheets, I found like a YouTube video. Someone, I forgot who it was, but showed their spreadsheet. So I created my own spreadsheet. It was not the most efficient one, but I would keep track of where we got the item, the date we got it, the item name and price, and then I would input how much we sold it for to figure out net profit. That was our entire 2018. By the end of 2018, I wanted to figure out a better way to keep track of our bookkeeping and our inventory management. And I found Not Your Dad's CPA, and he had a free spreadsheet on his website. Anyone can download it. And I found it and I liked it, but I tweaked it for us. The aesthetic of it, I made it more aesthetically pleasing for me.
It's a lot prettier.
It's more posh.
I wouldn't call it posh.
But it's more specific. So on his, I think on the Not Your Dad's CPA one, it didn't include the net profit. And so I included the net profit. And then I also included so I put location, date purchased, item, the price, and then it'll be sales date, the sales price,
and shipping.
And then I put in the shipping fees and the net.
Yeah.
And then I also have a column for indicating if that item was returned or not.
Wow.
So then I'll indicate if it got returned. And then if it got returned, then I put in the numbers, and then I'll turn that line item red to show that we're in the negative for that one. So then when we resell it, it'll match
adjust,
up. Yeah. But on my spreadsheet, I actually have it where it populates onto another spreadsheet. That's my dashboard. And on that dashboard, it'll actually give me the monthly totals for each platform. And then it'll also give me an overall total for all the platforms. So every Sunday, I do bookkeeping. Every Sunday, we'll get an update. It'll let me know how much we made that week on Poshmark, on eBay, on Mercari, on Amazon, and then how much we made in total amongst all of them.
Nice.
And I can see how much we've spent in cost of goods on those items.
We can see which platform we're paying more fees. Or return. The other great thing on there is that she added shipping. And that allows us to see, how much we're spending on shipping.
Yeah.
Because one thing I've thought about is trying to make sure we have an idea. And thanks to her spreadsheet, we can see what we're shipping, how much we're spending on shipping, to possibly try to get our own account one day for a shipping account in terms of going to USPS and trying to get our own rate.
Oh, wow.
But like doing this and doing the timing, it all makes sense for us, because if I time how much it takes me to photograph and list, I can put a time value per item. So when I do my spreadsheets, if I can see if we're netting $10 off this item, then that's $10 in 6 minutes.
Okay. That is
that worth it?
Okay, do you have an accounting background, or is this just natural for you?
No,
Type
she
A
was
personality.
the high school class president. She was in leadership through most of high school, and she's got organization down.
Nice.
No, it's impressive. I mean, I knew all this, but I you kind of forget, and then I'm reminded about how efficient you guys are with your time and your money and your numbers.
And thanks to her stuff, I stopped picking up certain things that if I kept going under my own pile system, I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally making money on that. And then she'd come out and be like, well, after everything, you made $2 on that. Is it worth the time for everything? Yeah. And the time is sat there for $2.
So you're saying, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say, part of me wants to say yes, just so that I'm not, I can say, yeah, totally. But the reality is it's not.
So you're saying that comps isn't enough, that it goes beyond comps. So you might find some comps, pick it up, and ultimately in the end, as a result of a best offer or return or whatever reason, it may not be profitable.
Like, okay, if you're going to pick up an item that's going to take 30 minutes to clean, you have to consider the time that you spent sourcing it, the time that it's going to take you to prep the item, the time that's going to take you to photograph it, to list it. If it's an item you have to spend a lot of time researching, it takes you 30 minutes to research, 30 minutes to clean, then you sell it and you think you netted $80. Well, $80, but then it took you a whole hour to actually work on that. And then is it worth it?
Yeah.
No, that's something that I think many of us don't do. Especially me that I'm full-time, I think I have all the time in the world, right? So to me, it's no big deal. I mean, the one thing I won't mess with as much anymore is, let's say, dual deck VCRs and recorders, because I think I'm making a lot of money, but the time that I spend trying to fix something, get it prepped, get it packed, I may make more money on a Harley shirt. I mean, I'm being extreme, but
no, yeah, or 2 or 3 Harley shirts that you can get done way faster than one dual deck.
Yep.
I think that's so powerful that you guys share that. I hope our listeners are listening in, because that's huge. I think that much is said in the reselling community about that. Really appreciate you guys sharing that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that's not necessarily fun too, because I remember Orlando and I have talked about this on multiple podcasts, and I've mentioned, like, we got to use spreadsheet. You got to know, because there's a lot of other costs involved, even the mileage that it takes to get the items, and all of that is put into how much are you actually making, even when it comes down to time to do taxes, right? And numbers aren't what a lot of people find enjoyable, but the reality is the numbers is the reason why we're doing this, and all of those numbers become tools in your toolbox, like you said, so you're not wasting time on items. That's great.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, another thing I'd like to add to it too is, almost for a whole year, we didn't touch our reselling money. For a whole year, we didn't use it for anything.
We didn't pay us.
We didn't pay ourselves because at that point, especially once she joined in and it became serious. What was the date again?
January 26, 2008.
Once it became serious, we changed our view on it and looked at it as a business. This is our business. And through the little stuff that we've seen on business, we've learned that, before you start paying yourself for things, you really got to invest in your own business. So we left a whole year where we just kept investing into it. And that's why we went from a store that had listings of like 50 items, and now we have a store that lists over 1,000 items.
Nice. So there's more to it too, though. You guys, it seems like in June, and just because I know you guys, that your business jumped, right? Like things just started doubling. And part of that is you guys had taken part in certain courses that you actually paid money for. And, we talk about that on the podcast. We're kind of hesitant, right? Because we do believe all the content that you need is actually out there and it's all free. But sometimes paying expedites that process, or you're willing to put in more when you pay for something. Or actually, you might find things you didn't find out before by paying someone. So share with us your experiences with paid courses.
So we didn't do it until this year. So that meant that we spent about a year and a half of reselling on our own, looking up free content, looking through social media, YouTube, finding all these free courses, free material to teach us before we thought to even pay for a coaching group.
Yeah.
And there's plenty out there. We don't know all of them. But we went with a friend of ours, someone that we had met in person, someone who were friends of friends who are close to this person. We see all the positive feedback for her coaching. Cindy of Amazing Taste Store, she's been reselling for a long time. She's a full-time reseller. Hearing how she operates her business, being able to live full-time, working as a reseller with her husband, and seeing her numbers and seeing the free content that she does provide, and her free content is already valuable.
Yeah.
So if someone online is willing to pay for extra content from her and is vouching for her coaching,
that made us really consider her. And the other thing too that made us, for example, choose this course over other courses was we weren't looking for something that was going to give us any kind of BOLO list or anything like that. We were looking to learn how to improve our business at the end of the day. So it's that whole idea of, give a man a fish or teach him how to fish. We're at team Teach Me How to Fish, so that we can go, fish 10x.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Those of you that are wondering what that's from, it's from our latest 3 episodes of Level Up Review, Grant Cardone's 10x rule. So,
which was amazing, by the way.
You liked it? Oh, good.
Appreciate it.
I think our next one, hopefully, I don't want to say it'll be better, but I think it's going to be different and hopefully provide some
or at least people will make their
motivation.
bed.
Yeah.
Our bed is made.
Our bed is made.
So is mine. Mike, is your bed made?
Oh, it's always made.
Okay, just checking. Yeah. All right, so and you also took another FBA course, right? You took an FBA one, right? And you learned a lot in that one too.
Yeah.
That you had not known before.
Yeah, I mean, we're new to
FBA was completely new.
Yeah, FBA was confusing. You had taught us some of the FBA.
I confused them.
But we had, I follow a lot of people. We're good friends with one of the teachers in the group. And it was a FBA gal, Mandy. She's a killer in Amazon, and she shows, what she's able to do, how long she's been able to do it. People vouch for her in the community. We found value in it. We wanted to learn. We wanted to learn from a trusted coach.
Yeah.
But the stuff that she taught was invaluable, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it was, again, skills. There's no
bolos in any of these groups. None of these groups were handing out lists of, hey, if you go here, this is this rank. It was teaching you how to make
educated purchases, really.
Yes.
All right. So based on those 2 courses, right, you both were pretty much pushed to next level, right? I mean,
yeah, right after those courses really combined, like you were saying, about June.
I think So at the beginning of June till now, our numbers have probably almost tripled.
Tripled.
Wow.
And you chose to run with more on the eBay side, right? With Cindy, which I think she talks about all kinds of different.
Yeah, she talks about a little bit of everything, but there's that, like we were saying, that strength in our eBay store, the strength in the,
which is something you already were familiar with. So it took off, and so I mean, obviously, we have a stamp of approval here. But explain to me, how did it? I mean, you can't tell me the details because obviously you paid for the course. But how did it motivate? Like, what was different? Was it something that you learned that you already known, but you had to relearn it, or was it brand new stuff?
I think it was a mix.
Yeah, it's a mix. And there's certain things that we knew we should be doing, but we didn't do. And it's just a reminder. I think, this is our experience with these courses, but with any course that you would ever do, whether it's reseller related, business, accounting, whatever you might do one day, it's what you put in and take out of it. And in that sense, we came in like, we're going to give it our best, whatever we're going to do.
And like, if we failed, it would have been on us and not the person that we paid, because you have to use the skills that they're teaching you and put it into action.
Right. So my question is, so you say you've like basically tripled your business in the last few months partially from those courses. Has the time you're investing into reselling increased also, or are you putting in similar amount of time, just getting better results?
I think it's using our time more efficiently in the same amount of time and learning how to set our tasks up so that we weren't overworking ourselves, which we actually felt like we were overworking prior to the course.
I'd say before we did our courses, to understand how to, again, be more efficient, we were working harder to make less.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So how much time are you putting in right now in a week on average? Anyway, since you probably have the to the minute, but
The second.
like
we
clock in.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we honestly almost only source on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. If Orlando's in town, we do it all the time.
Yeah. But let's see.
We source heavily 1 day a week, possibly 2 if we get a chance on a Saturday.
Yeah. I'd say like 10 to 15 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
10 to 15 hours a week together, including like shipping.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes we don't get home until like 8 o'clock or so from our other jobs. So it's not, we come in just to do a couple hours at night, maybe.
And that's like the shipping part. Some days we'll just take care of shipping and not do anything else.
But you're constantly doing. So that's my next question is, and we always ask this, like, would you guys consider reselling a lifestyle, or is it something you're able to put on the shelf and attend to everything else?
I think there might be people that could put it on the shelf and then move on to something else as a reseller. But at least in our case, I mean, it's a lifestyle because we view everything differently now. It's almost like we got these like super like RoboCop goggles that when we look at something, we're looking at possible value, possible retail value. And then as I'm looking at something, I'm thinking, okay, all right, well, that item's probably on Amazon. It's probably on at this retail store. Which one has the coupon? Like now
we view coupons differently now.
Yeah.
Coupons before, like, oh, I guess we could buy this for the home. It's like, no, there's a 25% off the entire purchase. So if we go in and we can buy this and then put it on Amazon, this is how much we can make off of it.
Yeah. Or even just for our own personal stuff now, like we've gotten a lot more frugal, or not even frugal, more thrifty for our own personal stuff. And that
thrifted.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
So
it's a Bob's Burger shirt you got on there, right?
Oh yeah, Bob's Burger. Yeah, so I mean, I would say it's a lifestyle that we don't turn off.
No, I mean, and you guys, you mentioned it's a hustle, but it's a hustle, right? You're constantly moving, especially when you're doing the reselling thing. You're always sourcing, taking pictures. So explain to me, Tiffany, real quick. I just wanted to break it down. So let's say you fail one week, you don't meet your personal record of photos. So what do you do to make things faster? Like, is this too hard of a question? Too detailed? Like, do you find yourself sometimes you're like, wow, I'm really moving slow. What do you cut out, or what do you do to make things faster? Or do you just drink a Monster and just move on?
Oh, I have coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Cheers.
And then you just shift to the next gear and you gotta go.
I set myself, like the way that I photograph, I have it set up to move to make the least amount of movement.
Okay.
So the way that I have the photo area set up, I take like one step to get the item to the wall and photograph. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, this is great. This is what I was asking.
Yeah, I mean, everything's, again, goes back to our efficiency. I guess the two words that really we run by is discipline and efficiency. And have fun too. Yeah. But no, I think in order to catch up, for example, we went to Posh Fest, and for that reason, we took off Thursday morning and we didn't get back until Sunday. Well, that ate up her Friday, which is her photo day. That piled up shipping.
So just so like anyone that doesn't know how we do things, I batch photograph. So I only photograph on Fridays.
Okay.
Yeah. So being out of town on that Friday put her a whole week behind on photograph. So that just meant cranking out
photos. So that means that I photographed yesterday and I photographed today to make up for missing last Friday. Yeah.
So, we mentioned sometimes we thrift 2 days a week or so. Well, that would have been Saturday, but instead this Saturday it was photos because it was catch up time.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm interested. So you measure your steps to take pictures like that. It breaks it down to a science where if you take too many steps, that may have slowed you down. If you had the items in the wrong part of the room, that slowed you. I mean, those are all important. Like we talk about, we think it's silly, but we always like shoes. I I won't take pictures of shoes unless I have a good 15 to 20 pairs that I can crank out really fast, because if I go shoes and then a shirt and then a hat, I'm losing a bunch of time.
Yeah.
But you have everything organized in piles and you know how many steps it's going to take to get to something.
Well, and think for a second how much time they're giving up just to be on the podcast right now. So how many items could you list? Like, we appreciate you being on.
Well, I think, for efficiency, like in terms of clothes, I have it on the rack, and to save time, I have them in like sectioned off, right? So like all the tank tops, then all the short sleeves and all the long sleeves and all the dresses. All the men's goes together because the men's gets a bigger hanger, which takes a little bit longer for me. So I put that at the end. And I have the rack right next to me as I photograph. They're already on the hanger that I need it to be on. So I throw it up on the wall, take my pictures, throw it on the table where I have the measuring tape taped on. So I don't have to physically hold the measuring tape. The dresser where I hold my plastic bags, they're right next to me. Everything is within arm's reach.
Nice. That's what I was asking. So you do have it down to a science. Like, exactly, the time it takes you to do all of that. Now, I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned PoshFest. You went to PoshFest and you also were at eBay Open. So tell us, what are some of there's a lot of our viewers are unable to go and maybe they're considering next year. What are the differences between the two?
So
besides platform.
Okay, so let's see. The two platforms are different. eBay Open has a lot more sessions going on, like the breakout sessions. I think there's a lot more going on at eBay. The environment at PoshFest is very different, in our opinion, compared to eBay Open. I don't know, like
I think so on eBay was very much like, even from the company side to the fellow resellers that were there, was like, all right, so how can I sell more starting tomorrow? And eBay was up there saying, okay, we brought you these new features because it's supposed to help you sell more and push more for you to make, and it's a business. So the more we sell on eBay, the more eBay makes. So it's a little circle. We need each other. In Posh, they go through encouraging. So it's a different approach to helping you sell more. So
it's a lot more about community,
sharing of stories, struggles, and how people overcome them, and how Poshmark was a part of that.
Yeah. And at Posh, so at eBay Open, there was a lot more panels that featured eBay employees. At PoshFest, most of the panels were Poshmark sellers speaking to the audience. And I think that was a big difference. And anyone could apply to speak versus being asked to speak. So Poshmark allows like an open time frame for anyone to apply to be a speaker. You submit your entry, they'll choose you or not.
Choose you. And it's that community part where you get to talk to another fellow Poshmark seller, and together you talk about, they had sections like for branding, where they talk about the process of branding your closet, which is great. But again, that's for not our kind of closet, because we have everything.
But there was like a panel on how to use your IG to boost your business, which I don't remember eBay having, because this was a specific panel.
I think we were on that panel.
But
it was different. Yeah. I'm just messing around. But the question did come up on our panel.
This one was like actually using IG to sell your product.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's a few sellers who actually promote their item on IG to sell to the consumer. Then they did have their YouTube one. There was one specifically on thrifting. They had 3 panelists showing the audience how they thrift. Different styles of thrifting, from the bins to retail and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the video we have on our channel too. We were able to live stream that, save it, and we posted it on YouTube for everyone.
I will say this, that the Poshmark team is made very accessible to everyone at PoshFest. We saw the CEO every single day. And he took pictures.
I shook his hand and multiple times talked to him about my concerns, and benefits, and it's way different approach to how the Posh team interacts with everyone compared to eBay.
Yeah, like the CEO, I was watching him speak to the attendees. He is like focused on you while you're talking. It's like he's making mental notes as you're speaking to him, and reaching out and having his assistant reach out to you, exchange contact information, wants to gather feedback from everyone there. And it was just like one of the nicest people I'd ever met.
Yeah. But again, talking about the differences, again, very community-based conference. You work together, you encourage, and I could sum it up as a big hug. Like Poshmark was a big hug.
Yes.
Nice.
And there was a lot of hugging. And it was great. We loved meeting everyone that were meeting there.
Yeah, one of the things at PoshFest was there was actually during the general session, I think it was during the State of the Union address, that he actually told everyone to turn around, and it was like the icebreaker thing.
It was an icebreaker thing, yeah. Talk to whoever's at your table.
Yep.
And
turn to your left, turn to your right, exchange handshakes or hugs, and introduce yourselves, and share your business cards and interact with the community.
Yeah, that wasn't at eBay. eBay was like, no, eyes up here. Eyes up here. Look at me.
I don't know. We got to meet a lot of people. There's a lot of networking.
Oh, no, yeah. But I'm saying in the general session.
Oh, no, yeah, I get it. General session, yeah, but it was like truth bombs being dropped, right?
Yeah.
Like every single moment. So I get that. So and there were truth bombs at Posh Fest too. With Posh stories and all the things that came up.
Yeah, but at the end, like I was saying, the eBay's encouragement to setup is more like, here's the numbers, here's why you might not be making your sales.
Yeah.
Here's what you need to do to make those sales. Now go out and do it.
Interesting. Well, that's good to know. And so hopefully if you're listening and you're considering, do you want to go to eBay Open or Posh, or do you want to go to both? Hopefully that helps you out, because they definitely make the rounds. Like I've seen your IG stories. You met a lot of people at both events.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't end up on stage at Posh Fest though.
That is true.
Nice.
That is true. So,
All right. So
that's only for the Bay.
yeah. So going back to like what you're actually selling and some of those stories, what have been maybe one or two of your best sales and one or two of your biggest like flops? So big flips and big flops.
We just 1 to 2 flops.
Oh, we get flops. That happens. But
and it doesn't have to be something you sold. It just has to be a big mistake.
Yeah, maybe a mistake. Yeah, you made.
Oh, there's plenty of those too.
Plenty of those too. All right. Well, we'll go with so recently we put up a post about it too. You guys mentioned it in the hustle of the week. It was the big
boat.
The boat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was an awesome pickup. It was again paid about $50 for it, and that's a lot to pay up for something for us, especially at a thrift store. So we really put our foot forward on that one, but it worked, and we did our research to make sure it worked, and we sold that one for $500. So that was really nice.
Nice.
Plus shipping. And you guys have talked about that, where sometimes on those higher end, more expensive items, people will still pay shipping.
Mm-hmm. And you got to be careful, because you may lose money on the shipping if you don't get it right, but you only lost a little bit, right? You didn't lose that much.
Yeah, I think a $13 difference.
Yes. So like on that item, we netted $375, $380, something like that.
Yeah, $375 and 63 cents.
Oh, nice. That's good.
And it only took 49 minutes, right?
Exactly.
Well, we actually showed us, we did a shipping video on that boat. So however long the shipping video was how long it took us to ship it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we didn't do any prep work for the boat because it was brand new in box. So we bought it, put it in the garage, and let it sit until it sold.
I didn't clean anything.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see, another big sale. Sometime last year, we were at a thrift store, end of our thrifting trip. I found these 2 Nike things. I don't know what they were. They're like one-piece Nike things. That's what we called them. Because we didn't know.
That's how you listed it. Nike things.
Yeah. Nike things that were blue.
Well, no, we
green.
were on our way out too, so we were trying to look up comps, but we didn't even know how to.
They looked small, and they were listed with a kids tag. So
like
the store that shall not be named put a tag on it, with the kids logo, and then it said I think it was $3.99 for each one. They looked special. I'd never seen anything like it. When I tried to look them up, we couldn't find comps.
We couldn't figure out what it was at the store.
And we looked up like suit. I think we looked up triathlon suit, different suits, and we couldn't find anything that looked similar to that. So we grabbed it. When we took it home, I had to do extra research. I went on Google. I actually found a website where they had the exact item. I think it was called
a tri-suit.
Yeah, a tri-suit, but it was like an Olympic
It's
suit.
an Olympic suit. Yeah. So it's a track and field type suit. So it's the ones you see the guys wear and the women wear that looks like a giant leotard thing.
Yes. And it was a large, and he tried to put it on and fit like half his body in it.
I am not a large, apparently.
Are there pictures?
There is. I mean,
somewhere. There's a picture somewhere, but we did
it leaves too little to the imagination.
Yeah, we like to stay monetized on this YouTube.
Yeah.
But we did the Orlando and we priced it high. I was like, you know what? I can't find anything that looks like this, the exact color and all that stuff. And so we priced it high and it sold overnight. And one of them sold for, I think it was like $175.
Nice.
Wow.
And then it took about 2 months for the second one to sell. And the second one, we took a best offer.
120, I think it was.
Yeah, like 120.
Wow.
But it was like 3 ounces.
Yeah.
Wow.
It weighed nothing.
You just put it in like a regular envelope, huh? You just like fold it up and just put a stamp on it and then send it off.
And no return on those. The buyers were happy with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is great.
I mean, so those were, some of our best items. And then in terms of flops, or
the
mistakes.
Omega juicer.
Yeah.
So when we first started selling.
Are you okay sharing this? Is this going to cause some conflict here?
Oh, no, we share this all the time. We don't have issues with
Okay.
We make mistakes. We make mistakes so we can grow and learn from them.
There we go.
We don't have issues with talking about them. But we took apart our Omega juicer and we sold all the pieces. And then we had the main motor, like the base left, which was really heavy. And I remember asking him, hey, how much do we put the shipping for? So he took the Omega juicer and he put it inside a large flat rate box. So he told me, oh, it fits in the large flat rate box. You can put it at, charge this much for shipping. Cool. Months later, it sells. Well, when he put it in the flat rate box and he tried to bubble wrap it, it didn't fit.
Oh.
Then he tried to seal it, and the Omega juicer was probably 2 inches higher than where it folded down.
Yeah.
So I think we lost $5 on that.
Give or take. Yeah. We went negative. We paid them to take that for us.
But that's an okay big fail. Like that.
Well, then that taught us hey.
that helped. The reason we bring that one up is because we learned from that one, because we didn't want to pay up on anything else.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. And I think another flop, I'm trying to think. Another thing is we went, we followed all the bolos from social media. So when people talked about Tommy Hilfiger was coming back.
Tommy for your mommy.
Yeah, Tommy for your mommy and all that. I was like, boom, found some Tommy Hilfiger. We got it. Well, no, because it was Tommy Hilfiger like banker shirts that had the world's tiniest little Tommy flag on it. But in my mind, because we didn't do our due diligence and look up comps.
We just heard names.
Yeah. So we bought them and later realized never sold. Like they just sat there. Because even within hot brands, certain styles matter.
Yep.
Is it still in your inventory?
Kitty.
Okay, so if you're listening to the podcast, I think Wasabi, one of their cats, just showed up on the scene.
Yeah, Wasabi always goes to say hi to Orlando when he gets here.
Wasabi likes just attention. Like I notice that whenever somebody else shows up, Wasabi shows up. So
yeah.
What a great name for a cat. My dad had a dog named Shishimi, which I thought was
that's awesome.
Nice. Now, I want to share a story though, real quick. So you had a Yamaha shirt that was a big score too. Remember that?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that one up too.
So let's bring it up because I was in the house for that one and I totally missed it. So tell the audience what happened here.
So I think, and Mike has said this in the past, that when Mike said when he first started reselling, his thing was picking up things that look strange or things that look interesting. I want to look this up. And that's how Mike kept coming up on a lot of different random stuff, right?
Yep.
Similar, I'm kind of like a kid. So when we were out thrifting and it was you guys, it was, well, not both of you, it was just Orlando and we were with Thrifty Nomads. Both of them were with us. And then there was also a couple other resellers inside the.
It was a packed thrift store of resellers.
Yeah. And we saw them and, we were all shopping. You guys went to the same rack I did ahead of me. And then while walking by, I just saw some bright yellow thing caught my eye and I was like, oh, look, something shiny. And I literally just like big bright thing. And part of me thought I was going to pick up a referee, like a soccer referee shirt. And then I looked at the tag and I said it out loud because they were near me. And I was like, a Yamaha shirt. And all of a sudden the other resellers, including Orlando, turn around. What? And I was like, I'm going to hold on to this. What's going on? And then that's when I looked it up. And that Yamaha shirt apparently was
a dead stock.
First off, it was a dead stock. It still had the sizing tags and everything on it. It was a vintage dead stock because it came from the 70s, never worn, never used. Somebody stored it somewhere. And I don't think Yamaha has too much clothing now, but at the time it was one of their first activewear.
Okay.
A polo shirt.
Yeah, it was a polo shirt. And about within 3 to 4 days when we got it, sold for 120 and it went like 10 miles from our house.
Wow. So that person could have gone to that thrift store, but again.
Well, actually, to be exact, so the person that bought it was in Orange County, which is where we picked it up.
Wow.
We're in LA County.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy. Well, good. And that was nice profit. Because how much did you pay for it again?
$3.
$3. Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah. And at that same store, because of curiosity, and one of those things where if you don't ask, you won't receive. When we were paying, there was a anthology for, was it Kate Bush?
Kate Bush Anthology, which was a set of CDs.
Yeah. There's people out there that really know who she is. I didn't know who she was. So even when I saw it, I was like, I don't know. And I asked the guy, would you do, half off on that too? And the manager had a bunch of stuff in there. He's like, yeah, sure, you can have a half off. So paid $5 for that and ended up selling that for
over 100 too.
Yeah. So that thrift was real good.
Yeah. And I bought nothing at that store. There. Absolutely nothing.
Yep. And you came out of there like, oh, but I didn't find anything.
It goes to show you there's plenty out there. You just got to look.
Yep.
So I have another question for you guys. So you're major clothing sellers. And I find that, and this has been, I think the last 2 years has been the thing that clothing is dead. It's oversaturated. You can't make money. What are your thoughts on the current reselling? Like, is it obviously you guys should share stories. So you think that's doable, but do you believe that if somebody's coming in and they, don't have any inventory, they're trying to start, is it still doable? Is reselling still a thing, especially clothing?
I think so.
I think it is. And like anything, it's going to come down to understanding your comps for the items and then going back to your process of things. If selling listing and selling a clothing item for you takes you a long time because you just can't get a process down or you don't care for it and you're just doing it for the sake of flipping something, it might not be worth it because it's just not worth the amount of time you're putting in compared to what you're making. But if you can come down with the process, and I know Mike mentioned in one of the other podcasts how he picked up the LuLaRoe stack. Again, LuLaRoe on its own, don't pick it up. Do not pick up a LuLaRoe on its own. But because he picked up a big stack, and
I wouldn't say never pick it up because there's some styles of LuLaRoe that still do well. So it's about checking the comps on it because there's still some styles.
Yeah, there are some. But like overall, like a LuLaRoe, you wouldn't pick up. But because you found a bunch and you have a system in place, it became a profitable thing. But if you're starting off and you want to get into clothing, I'd say first thing to do is understand the process and see if you can make it efficient. Because there are some high ticket items you can sell in clothing, but the majority of them are going to be what people call bread and butter. So you're going to be selling most items for between $20 to $30, I'd say.
And being okay with it.
And being okay with that, yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Do you have your question?
Yeah. So it's kind of a good way, I feel like, always to end an interview like this. So you told us a lot about reselling, and clearly you guys are an incredible couple. You guys mesh well together. You're working well together. And I always like to say, I get the opportunity to teach the up and coming generation, right? And I find like it's part of my privilege to impart wisdom to them. So if you had the opportunity, and you do right now, so this isn't just to like young kids, but like to like give life advice, what is like the one or two things that you would say like to anybody that is like life advice that's been important to you, or that you would impart to somebody who might just be starting out?
What'd you say?
Like the things that we were already repeating. Stay disciplined.
Stay disciplined. No, I one of the ones I often come back to, and I mean, we joke around because I always say it, but it's the idea of being present. And whatever you're doing, I always bring it up because there's so much going on in most of our lives that it's easy to not pay attention to what's going on. So whether it's work, school, family, like do your best to be present or else focus, or else you're not really putting in the time you think you're putting in. So for example, if you're out and you're thrifting, but you're so busy, like, watching or having Netflix playing or something, or talking on the phone with somebody, and you're not paying attention.
You're not making use of your time.
You're not fully focused on your thrift. So you might be missing on things, or you might be moving slower than you should.
Or in a relationship, if you're with your partner or friend or whatever, and you're just on your phone the whole time. It's different when it's a group of resellers and we're all on our phones checking comms together or answering offers.
But when you're with friends that are not resellers, oftentimes we hear stories of like people don't understand, and they don't. But
put your phone away.
Put your phone away. Be present for a moment. Like as much as we're resellers, you need to find your balance and being present in family, relationships, work. Or a good movie. Even if you're going to watch a movie, pay attention.
That's good. Agreed. So context obviously matters, right? Because when we hang out, we're always on our phones, but we all understand, right?
Well, and the thing with that is we're still being present because we're presently all resellers.
Yeah. And we're all on social media. So we're all trying to, engage people and so on. But, it's so true because unless you're in the, I guess, reseller community or doing social media, it's really hard to understand, and people might, object to you being on your phone the entire conversation.
Yeah. But I think that's a good one. And we bring that up often, but it's just because it's too easy to get distracted and not actually, like sometimes people say like, oh, I spent the weekend with my family, but you were on your phone the whole time. And do you remember everything your kids did?
Yeah. And we try to stay positive about things, and like things happen, and to not dwell on things that you can't change.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we often give it a spin.
That's good.
Nice. All right. So shift quick. What is in the future for you guys? Like what is going on?
Well, one thing, we're working more on our social media. We are putting a lot more content out. In our videos, we do everything from hauls to what's sold, but we're also trying to drop in at least once a week some kind of more tutorial-based video or fun video that's still relative to business.
So I don't know when, but we do want to put out a video with the spreadsheets and offer a downloadable spreadsheet for anyone to use to help with their business. So we do want to do a video on how I use my spreadsheet for our business and to see if anyone can find it helpful.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
We want to share how we do things. And again, like we've said it, and this is what works for us.
Mm-hmm.
If it helps one person.
Yeah, that's great for us.
That's awesome. Well, hey guys, really appreciate you guys. Great interview. Hopefully our listeners found a lot of value in what you said. And look forward to hanging out again. So make sure to check out So Quick Ship Quick on YouTube and on Instagram. And I'm sure you're on other platforms eventually. And if you're not, they will be. And thanks so much, guys.
Yeah. And I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to collab more, like not just like our level up or not a level up, our hustle sessions, but I think we need to have like occasional just like collab episodes. Like that'd be awesome, since you guys got your thing going on and the way you resell and the way we do it, that'd be neat.
Yeah.
If you ever want to do something where we hang out and just talk about a topic, we're game.
Cool.
Tacos included. All right. With all that being Tacos. All right, with all that being said, make sure to be real.
Be relevant.
And be reselling. Please.